So we can't fail, and we have to do it on 2 separate maps. Alright, I'm gonna put the wizard monkey because the wizard monkey is actually really good. Here we go. I'm gonna hit play on the first one, and then I'm gonna hit play on the second one. Oh god. We've already got balloons coming around. And we want as much coverage as possible on this map. This is quite an issue. I'm sure, and I'm a multi-gamer. That means I play multiple instances of games at the same time. I've set myself the objective of beating this well-known mobile game in a single multigaming session. Before I explain to you the rules of multigaming, I'd like to explain to you what multigaming even is. Multigaming is a timed gaming session I've created where the multigamer, in this case that would be myself, attempts to complete difficult objectives that will challenge my knowledge of the game, my strategic processing, and in some cases, my micro capabilities. This can be a very difficult challenge for anyone who's playing the game normally, but today, I will be attempting to beat not just 1, but 2 instances of the game. The objective? Beat 2 separate maps of Bloons tower defense at the same time. If you've never played Bloons before or don't know what it is, don't worry. Just follow the pink flash on screen and you'll still be able to follow along. Now that you know what multigaming is, I'm sure you'd like to know what the rules are. Rule number 1. The objective, in this case that's to beat 2 separate maps at the same time, must be completed in full without assistance. This means that I can't listen to a guide during the session. I can't have anyone aid me in any way during the session, and it means I can't use any outside tools or mods to make the game easier. I have to beat both maps completely by myself and completely vanilla. Oh, and I forgot to mention, to make this even harder on myself, I've decided I need to not only complete each map, but I need to reach and beat level 100 for each map and each game with no powers and no one-time use monkeys. That means I'll be playing the game fully vanilla, like someone who might have never played the game before. This is going to be very difficult. Rule number 2. The objective must be completed within a single session without failure. What this means is that not only do I need to beat each map, not only do I need to reach and beat level 100 of each map without powers and one-time use monkeys, but I need to do it simultaneously. That means if I fail either instance of the game, the session is completely nullified and I have to start again. Luckily, the timer isn't there to provide a standing for my score like a speedrun would be, but rather to legitimize the session and provide further proof that I did indeed beat both games in a single session. If I lose either game, the timer resets, signifying the end of that session. How many times though can I restart the timer before I completely lose my mind though? For multigaming isn't for the faint of heart or weak of mind. This is the ultimate test of endurance and strategy. So for the past few weeks, I have been trying to set this up, and it has been an incredibly difficult journey just to get to this point where I could play 2 instances of Bloons tower defense on one system. You heard me right. 2 instances, 2 games of Bloons tower defense, this old mobile game. And to prove that it's 2 separate games, we've got one virtual machine loaded up with Bloons tower defense and a second game of Bloons tower defense loaded up on another virtual machine. Now, I'll give some backstory. Over the past few weeks, I've been trying to set this up. And the reason it's been so difficult is because graphics card companies kind of make it difficult for you to split up your graphics card into multiple partitions like this. And the reason they do that is because they want to control the pricing of how much power you receive from using your graphics card. That's one reason, as well as the fact that virtual machine software companies don't really make their virtual machines to be able to handle video games like this. So just getting Bloons tower defense to run in 2 separate virtual machines with everything working and not crashing has been probably the real challenge, if I'm honest. If there's ever been a challenge that a challenge has been challenged, this has been a challenge. Now, in the middle, you might notice that I have a stopwatch here. I can start it, I can stop it, I can move it around. This is not a speed run, okay? I want to make that clear. We are not speed running Bloons Tower Defense. If anything, we're speedrunning ADHD with how many clicks and how much information is going to be shoved into our brains through this format of gaming. This format of gaming I call multigaming, and I got this idea from a card game I used to play as a kid called Magic the Gathering. You may have heard of it. And in this card game, I would play a special format known as the Two-Headed Giant. And in this format, one player would play with 2 decks, or 2 players would play with 1 deck against a similar team of 2 players with 1 deck or 1 player with 2 decks, with a shared health pool of about 40 HP. Now, back in the day, I didn't always have a partner to play with, but we'd have about 3 people's worth of decks and people to play the game with, and one person would have to play with 1 large commander-sized deck or even 1 regular-sized deck, which didn't play out too well, but that's just besides the point. Now, I've wanted to do this for a while, right? I saw a meme back in the day of Faker, the League of Legends player for, I think, Team Solo Mid. There was a meme that someone made about him where he was multitasking in League of Legends, and he was solving weird games and puzzles like captchas and like Counter-Strike. It was a weird meme. I'll play a little bit of the meme just so you get what I'm talking about. But in that meme, he was playing video games and all sorts of different challenges, right? And I thought, hey, I could kind of do that with video games, and I used to kind of do that with Magic the Gathering back in the day. So why don't I try to do that? And at the time, when I first got the idea, I was actually playing DOTA, Defense of the Ancients 2. And when I first tried to attempt to do this, I did it with 2 different... I'm gonna be honest, I tried multiple weird, quirky ways to play 2 separate instances of Dota 2. I've tried playing on 2 different systems. I've tried playing on 1 system with 2 different games, and the software never really worked the way I wanted it to, and setting up the whole thing and recording it was just not possible until today. I've figured out how to get 2 instances of a game to run on 1 system and be able to capture it. This has been actually longer than a few weeks. This has been months in the making, because not only have I had to set up the software, but I've had to set up the hardware to be able to capture it as well. And here we are today trying to beat Bloons Tower Defense on 2 different instances of the game. Going back to the timer I was talking about previously, what is the timer for, you might be asking? This timer is not to challenge ourselves to beat these 2 games as quickly as possible. No. This timer is strictly here to prove that we did this in 1 session. To prove that we did this on 1 system in 1 sitting. We will be playing it on easy mode. That way we have a synergistic element between both of the games. I was going to do it on hard mode, but the problem with doing it on hard mode is that the most difficult balloons come a lot earlier, as well as the ability to maybe not be able to do it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if this is going to be possible. Obviously, I'm gonna do Monkey Meadow. It's the first map, it's the most recognized map probably. So we're gonna do that, and I think we're gonna do In the Loop. Again, we're gonna do this on easy mode, and we're gonna do it in standard. And we're gonna get right into it. Alright, I'm gonna put the Wizard Monkey, because the Wizard Monkey is actually really good to put at the front in the early game. So I'm gonna put those here, and I think I'm gonna put this monkey here. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna hit play on the first one, and then I'm gonna hit play on the second one, and we're just gonna let it run. Remember, we have to hit round 100 on both of these consecutively. I'm gonna put you here. I'm gonna make you a spiker bolt. Oh god. We've already got balloons coming around. Oh! I'm losing already! I'm actually gonna invest early with the Moab push ability. Moab shove for the heli pilot. Alright. Let's get some upgrades on this. Put down the monkeys. And then we're gonna get the second heli pilot. Going over. Alright, starting to get intense. Level 40. There's the Moab. Nice. Alright, we gotta continue on to level 100. Alright, I just noticed what happened. Oh my goodness. Alright, we almost lost it. Alright, straight on to cornering. Here we go. Level 100 in game 2. I'm gonna get Shimmer. I'm gonna get Bloon Soak. I'm gonna get Bloon Dissolver. And I'm gonna get Blue Splatter. Getting pretty close. And I think I'm gonna get the stronger sting on this monkey. I think I'm gonna get another Gatling monkey going on the same spot. Oh no! Upgrading power. No! We lost. I was sure we had it. I was sure we had it with the 2 Monkey Ace pilots and the 2 heli pilots, but we didn't quite have it. We lost it to some heart balloons and some of these lead Moab balloons. Alright, here we go. Next game. Alright, so where we went wrong in the last one was I believe we didn't have enough early game firepower in the form of explosives like cannons and maybe even an extra Monkey Ace. So in this game, we're actually going to invest more into cannons and Monkey Aces down the line and less on maybe a Gatling monkey. Alright. Let's get an Alchemist going as well. An Alchemist. Alright, that's the first. Nice. Alright, let's get these going as well. We're gonna get an Alchemist going to speed up our attack speed of everything in range. Alright, we're really cooking now. We're in level 90, round 90 in game 1, round 90 in game 2. Or at least this first instance. The lead. Come on, kill it. Oh my god. How are we not killing it? How are we not killing it? What am I missing? Am I missing, like, some slowdown? Or are we just not doing enough damage? Because I feel like it's... What is it? It can't be the fact that we don't have enough cannons at the beginning. Because surely we're doing enough, right? Because it's... Maybe it's the way we've set up the cannons. Because we were doing damage to it. I saw that it was cracking as it was coming around this corner right here. Maybe what we're missing is just cannons that are spread out. Because we're dealing with everything at the front, but the lead balloons are just not... They're not taking the damage we need them to take, like later on in the path. I don't see how we don't make it through 90. I think one more...
They are getting through.
How did they make it through? We had 1, 2, 3, 4 Cannons. I think it's just the layout of the map, if I'm honest. But why do I feel like we're just not doing enough damage at all? I think we're over-investing in specters here. After failing the session a few times, I literally couldn't handle the fatigue from the amount of thought each session was causing me. I took myself out for dinner and came back refreshed, but despite being fed, I was still hungry to complete the objective. After watching some guides on optimizing the perfect strategy for dealing with the overwhelming DDT balloons, I decided to give it one last attempt before calling it quits for the night. Alright, I'm back. I just ate, and while I was on my break, I came across some strategies that I could use to possibly figure out how to deal with the DDT balloons. I've figured out that what we need to do is that instead of upgrading the wizard monkey here, we need to focus more on slowing down the balloons and detecting camo, and possibly even removing camo. I've also heard that we need to upgrade the wizard monkey to the archmage level. So that would be a 500 wizard monkey. Now, I think that's pretty expensive from the information that I gathered, but there are other ways we can attack the DDT balloons and deal with them, and that is to use these ice monkeys. So we're going to play this out, and we're going to focus on getting this wizard monkey to archmage level. We're not going to be focusing too much on the cannons. In fact, I believe the cannons that we were using beforehand were actually not an optimal build for dealing with DDT balloons, but that's all part of the process. Now, we also need a village. Now, the village is going to allow the monkeys to be able to do damage to the DDT balloons. It'll also allow them to detect camo, and we're going to slap that right at the front. That way, every monkey that we have at the front is able to do damage to these DDT balloons. Like I said, we've been getting through these rounds pretty easily. We've been able to get to round 90, but that's kind of where we're having trouble. And that's, to be honest, kind of where I knew we'd have trouble before we even started the challenge. That's it. All right, well, we successfully made it to round 103 and round 112 in game 2. And it took us about 25 minutes to get there and a lot of learning. But we learned the optimal strategy now for dealing with the DDT balloons. And not only that, but we beat 2 separate maps in 2 separate games of Bloons Tower Defense with all that action and craziness going on. And that's why they call me Sure, because I just pop all the balloons. Thank you for taking the time to observe my suffering. If you enjoyed yourself or found my idea intriguing, I'd really like to hear from you in the comments. I've been planning on expressing this weird way I've been gaming for a while now, and I've spent the past few months planning and hundreds of dollars to get to the point where I can even attempt this project and perform it in front of you right now. So it would mean the world to me if you could show your support by telling me how funny or stupid this way of gaming is. It seriously won't hurt my feelings if you clown my goofy idea. I've been doing things like this since I was a kid, and I'm just blessed to be able to show you something that I think is cool and entertaining.